Hi guys, welcome back to Guitar Shed Videos. I'm Duncan Ryan coming to you once again for Guitar Shed Videos and GuitarShedMusic.com. And today I just thought I'd shoot this quick little video about a topic a lot of guitar players kind of have a little bit of a misconception about and try and answer a few quick questions about it. And that topic is when to start writing your own music. Now, I know a lot of guitarists out there never really get to the point of writing their own music, but I think when most people start out, it's on the list of goals to eventually start, writing and maybe even recording and playing live their own songs, their own music. And there's this kind of misconception about it, though, that one has to practice for a long period of time and get to a specific level of skill before you even start doing that, before you even start thinking about it. And today what I want to tell you is that that's just simply not true. Because you could be the most amateur guitar player out there and come up with a really good idea. And that's all a song is. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot of complicated musical ideas meshed together, but it's at its root base, especially in guitar work and especially in rhythm guitar work, when you're dealing with the idea of, riffs, rhythm sections, that sort of thing, it's a good idea. You can have the greatest level of skill in the world, you can be an awesome songwriter. If you don't have a good idea, you have nothing. I'm sorry. I hate to tell you guys out there that, but without a good idea at the root of your song, without a good musical idea, something that hooks the listener in, you've got nothing. By contrast, you could be a complete amateur who's, been playing maybe for a couple of months, got the basic motor skills down, got some of the ideas of chord progressions, that sort of thing. You could be way below the skill level of other guitar players and certainly well below the level of the professional guitar players that you like to listen to, and you could come up with an awesome idea. And if you have that idea, I don't care what level you are at, skill-wise, writing-wise, whatever, do not let it go to waste. If you're playing around, practicing, and an idea comes into your head, you flesh it out a little bit, and you come up with a riff that you really like, I don't care if you're an amateur, if you're an intermediate player, if you're an advanced player, whatever, get it down somewhere. Record it on an audio file if you have the ability to do that. Tab it out, write it down, whatever you have to do to keep that idea to where you're going to be able to remember it and reproduce it later. Because even if you are, let's say we're taking the example of the amateur guitarist here. That idea, you may not have yet the skill level to turn it into a complete song, but that doesn't mean that you should just let it go because you've got a good riff, or you've got a little bit of a lead section that sounds really, really good. You should not let yourself lose that basic idea. So what you should do is either record it, tab it out, whatever you got to do. Some people can memorize it. I've done that a lot of times where I'll just basically memorize a riff idea I had. And you're going to want to be able to reproduce it later on, because you'll find that maybe you'll record that and you'll keep it for later reference, and then 6 months down the line, you'll have a much higher level of skill, you'll have a greater understanding of music theory, you'll have a greater understanding of how to put the rest of the song together, and you'll come back to that one riff or that one section of a lead piece, or whatever it might be, maybe it's just a little intro piece. And you'll say, you know what? I didn't have the level of skill I have now at that point, but it's still a really cool idea. I still really like the musical idea behind it, and you can then construct the song from there. So don't let yourself be fooled into this misconception of, I've only been playing a few months, I'm not ready to start writing my own music yet, and if I have a good idea, I'm just going to let it go out the window, because that's not going to get you anywhere when you do eventually begin writing your own music. And ultimately, writing is like anything else. You don't get better unless you have practice. You're going to write, if you start writing your own music, you're going to write a lot of really bad songs before you come up with anything that you really like. Chances are. Now, some people have just an innate talent for songwriting that almost everything they come up with is at least acceptable. most people, when they're writing songs of their own, they wind up with a lot of material that they would probably just never show to anybody else, and then what you eventually hear out of them is the best of the best, the cream of the crop, as it were, out of what they wrote. And that's always a good thing to do, but you need to get that practice. You need to experiment around in your songwriting to be able to get to that point where you have a crop to take cream out of, because if you don't, then you're not progressing with your songwriting. And songwriting is not the same as, developing your guitar skills, because you can spend years and years and years practicing and developing your guitar skills, and then sit down to write and realize you have no ideas. Or even if you have an idea, you have no idea how to incorporate it into a part of a greater song. It's a completely different skill set from just playing the guitar, or even playing it well, or even mastering it. Because it's not just about being able to play guitar well, or being able to reproduce, maybe what someone else has done on a guitar already before. I mean, you can play all of Yngwie Malmsteen's songs perfectly. You can learn to do that. It's really, if you apply yourself, it's not that difficult, because you're reproducing something that someone else has already done. People have tabbed it out. You can watch videos of him playing it for reference. It's going to be a lot of work, yes, because his songs are very, very complex things. But ultimately, it's completely doable because you're reproducing someone else's work. By the same token, if you do all of that, you are going to gain most, if not all, of the technical skills that Yngwie Malmsteen, or whatever artist you're looking at, happens to have, because you're going to have to develop them in order to play his pieces. By that same token, you develop all of those motor skills, you develop all of the guitar techniques, you develop even maybe a lot of the music theory behind it just by playing those pieces, and you sit down to write a song and you realize that while you've done all of that work, you don't really have any basis in songwriting, and you're going to have to learn a new skill set. And that's awesome, because you're still learning something new. It's awesome to get to that point where you've developed your guitar skills very highly. You've put in the practice, you've put in the time, you've got the skills to do whatever, to accomplish whatever you want on the guitar musically, and then to sit down and figure out, hey, there's a lot of stuff I still don't know if I want to make my own music. That's actually, to me, awesome, because it keeps you learning. And I think there's nothing better than, especially with music, I think there's nothing better than learning new stuff, whether it be the technical standpoint, whether it be from recording, songwriting, even learning how other instruments work that you don't play so that you can incorporate them better into your own music. I think every guitar player who's going to write his own music should have at least a rudimentary understanding of bass guitar and how to use it in songs, because if you don't understand how the bass is going to work, you can't incorporate it to its best advantage inside your own guitar pieces. So I personally think that there's nothing better than still being able to learn more from that standpoint. Now, I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that. They want to be masters of it instantly, but unfortunately it just doesn't work that way most of the time. So you may as well have fun and enjoy learning it, but definitely don't let yourself be fooled into thinking that because you're a beginner guitarist, or you haven't been playing for very long, or maybe you've been playing for a long time but not regularly, whatever the case may be, don't let yourself be fooled into thinking that you are not at the level of writing. Don't let yourself get into that mindset, because it's going to make you dispose of ideas which might really be good ones. You might have the basis of a really, really good song in that riff or that lead section that you just wrote while messing around on your guitar, and if you don't think enough of your skills, or don't think enough of your level as a guitarist that you are ready to begin at least fleshing out ideas for songwriting, then you're going to let that idea go to waste, and ultimately that's just pointless. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you let a really good musical idea that you've come up with, that you've been the one to come up with, just go out the window? You shouldn't, right? Why would you? So my ultimate piece of advice for you guys out there who are, you know, sort of starting to get into that mindset maybe, don't let yourself go too far along that line just because you can wind up getting rid of a lot of great song ideas that you might have up in your head and, you know, later on not being able to remember, hey, what was that really cool riff I came up with like 4 months ago that I thought, I'm not really at the point yet where I can start writing or, you know, even have my ideas be worthy of being recorded. And, you know, it's 4 months down the line, you're at that point now where you feel comfortable doing it. Hey, what was that idea? Where'd it go? I don't remember it. And you never want to find yourself in that position because it is one of the most frustrating things you can possibly experience as a musician. So just a small piece of advice there. Don't want to make this video too long, kind of got some stuff to do, but I just wanted to throw a quick one together for you, so hope you enjoyed, hope you learned a little something. If you haven't done so already, check out GuitarShedMusic.com. I've actually been focusing less on the videos for the last few weeks and trying to get more stuff up on the website itself. So I've got a lot of tips on sound and tone up there. I've got some recording tips that you can implement in your home studio if you've got one or if you're looking at building one. We've got some exercises up on there that haven't been up there as of yet. So certainly go and check that out. Been working real hard on it. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoy. Have a great week, guys. Rock on.